All right, y'all. I know you've been waiting for this. This is a reduced carb lava style chocolate mug cake. Now, this recipe is not necessarily low carb because it's probably got about 20 grams of carbs in it, but that's about half the carbs of a regular chocolate cake or a regular chocolate mug cake for that matter. And I use some real sugar in it, but just a little. So here's how it goes. I got these, I got this advent calendar from Chalk Zero. And unlike most people, I actually had some leftover chocolate advent candies. So this recipe calls for chopped chocolate, so I chopped up 2 of them. So that's like 2 ounces of that. So I use in this recipe Bob's Red Mill Paleo baking flour, which still has some carbs. King Arthur's Double Dutch dark cocoa, which actually has net 0 carbs. Some golden monk fruit sweetener. I use Health Garden. You can use Lakanto if you have that. And then this Miss Jones Smart Sugar. Now, this has real sugar in it. It does not have artificial sweeteners, but it does have chicory root fiber, which is great because it's a prebiotic, and you mix that with the cocoa, so you've got like 2 prebiotics, and tapioca syrup and monk fruit extract. So it has some carbs in it, but I find that the texture of this cake is not the same when you use all monk fruit. It's actually better when you use all smart sugar, but that pumps the carbs up to like 22, 23 grams. So here's how we're going to do this. 3 tablespoons of melted butter in here. And then this, you can use just 3 straight tablespoons of whole milk. I use ultra filtered high protein milk, which ups the protein and lowers the carbs. But for this particular one, I mixed a half a tablespoon of chia seeds in to pump up the gumminess and pump up the fiber. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of this mixture in here into this melted butter. I know it sounds kind of weird, but fiber slows the rate of absorption of carbs into your system. So anytime you can pump up the fiber of something, usually by adding vegetables, but in this case I'm adding chia seeds, it's really great. And then 1 smallish egg. If you do not have a smallish egg, all you have to do, so you see this is kind of a small egg, all you have to do is kind of crack it into a separate bowl and then leave a little bit of the white in that bowl. So that it's like, you know, just mostly yolk and a little bit of white. So stir this liquid stuff all up till it's kind of like uniform. You don't want any random bits of eggs scrambling up in the microwave. You want it to be like definitely mixed. And then a half a teaspoon of vanilla in there. Give it another stir. All right, now that's your wet mixture. Now the dry ingredients, you're gonna take a 1/4 cup of this Bob's Red Mill Paleo baking flour. Just like that. And remember, this is my protein mix scoop, so it's exactly 2 tablespoons. You want to do 2 tablespoons of smart sugar, 2 tablespoons of golden monk fruit. This is not very sweet, so if it's not sweet enough for you, feel free to add monk fruit drops or additional monk fruit sweetener. You can add more smart sugar, but just be aware that is going to pump up your carbs for this dish. So I like to keep it at 20 or lower. And then 2 tablespoons of good quality cocoa powder. You can use, you know, like Hershey's or whatever, but I really like this King Arthur Double Dutch. It makes it almost taste like an Oreo cookie. So then half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then just a pinch of salt. So I just do like 3 grinds. All right, get that. I was like, where did my spoon go? Stir the dry ingredients all up, mostly to break up any like clumps in the cocoa. Cocoa has a tendency to clump. You could get super fancy and sift it, but I am not that fancy. Okay, now this is important. If you want, this is optional. I like to put a half a teaspoon of instant espresso powder into this eggy mixture before I add the chocolate. Dump this in. Stir it up. You can use a whisk if you have one. Find a spoon is fine. It's going to look gross at first. Stir it until it's completely blended in the mug. And you do need a big mug for this. You're not going to be able to get away with like a small mug. If you wanted, you could separate this into 2 mugs, and then you could do them one at a time, and then you would be able to share your chocolate mug with a friend. And then you could have some extra carbs left over for ice cream or strawberries. So, once this is all mixed, you're going to take your chocolate chunks or chips or whatever. Make sure this is sugar-free chocolate. If you use regular chocolate, it's going to pump up the carbs and the sugar. So sugar-free chocolate melts just fine as long as it's good quality. You can use like Lily's if you want, but just put it right on the top there. Do not press them down in. And then, this is the trick. Add a tablespoon of water, just dribbled right on top of that chocolate. I'm going to put it in the microwave, and then you want to put it in the microwave for like a minute and 10 seconds, a minute and 15 seconds. If you do it over, I mean, every microwave is different, but if you do it over a minute, 30 seconds, you won't get that like lava cakey action uncooked batter at the bottom, which is like one of the best parts. So I'm going to show you in the microwave what it looks like. So it looks totally normal now, but any second now, it's going to puff up in the microwave. And you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to explode. It's actually going to puff up, and then it's going to fall back down when you let it cool. There it goes. So this is what it looks like. It comes out of the oven. If you see, it's kind of like a brownie on the top. And then there's like gooey lava at the bottom. So it's almost like a chocolate spoon cake. Enjoy.